Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the webinar. I'm Dr. Tabor Smith on behalf of Genesis Chiropractic Software. I am here with a very, very special guest, Dr. Dan Yachter. And most of you out there know who this is. He's a co-founder of Elevation Health. He has an amazing practice in Florida. I've got to see it personally. And this guy is just top notch. I mean, he's just high caliber. And I'm honored, Dr. Yachter, to be here with you. Thanks for doing this for us.
Hey, thanks for the kind words, and it's great, man. I'm looking forward to sharing with our Chiro brothers and sisters.
Awesome. Well, this is going to be a fun interview. It's going to be laid back, and I'm privileged enough to get to ask you some questions that I want to know. And, jumping right in what I really want to know, Dr. Dan, is I know you have just a huge practice. I know you know how to grow huge practices. You've helped other people do it. But what I personally would like to ask you is about success principles and what you believe has allowed you to achieve so much in life. And if you could share that with us, and for some of us who maybe aspire not only to grow a big practice, just reach more people, what's your story and how'd you do that?
Great question. First of all, it's an excellent question because there lies a bridge, a gap between desire, passion, vision, want, seeing something, going to someone's practice and wanting that to manifest in your life. There's a massive chasm between that and the strategy and the execution of the strategy that's going to allow you to do that. And I find that very few people can take this, bridge it over here, which is really execution. And I have a little thing up there. I don't know if you can see it, but
yeah,
it's my strategy map back here.
Wow.
And it's basically a blueprint. It's a blueprint of how to build whatever size organization in chiropractic that you want. And I go through this and I look at it, and that's my strategy. But right above it, it reminds me that nothing's more important than the execution of the strategy. I can look at this thing all day long until my eyes are crossing. This isn't going to manifest because I sit and meditate and visualize it. I have to take action and execute. And there is, that's the difference between the ones that see the manifestations and the ones that don't. Above it says, a surefire path to success is to take massive action every day. Even if you feel like you're unprepared, even if you feel like you don't have all the parts and pieces together, even if you feel that it could be a mediocre product, it's better to take action, pull the trigger, than to sit there and think about it for the next few months when that comes to marketing, whether it comes to picking up the phone and calling a patient. I mean, whatever it's going to be applied to, that's what I find is really the common denominator in terms of success is all successful people. They think it through, but only to a certain point, and then they act. Right. And they're okay making mistakes. They're okay looking foolish. They're okay scraping their knees and figuring out as they're going along. And that's a crucial value. It's a crucial character of success, trait of success, that you just got to move forward.
Right.
And for some reason or another, what I found also as an impediment and interference to success is that it could be right there. Someone could be given the greatest success plan. It could be right in front of them, and they know if they take action that they're gonna reap the success. Right. When they get that close to it, they get scared and they pull back because a lot of times there's self-sabotage, and that's a whole different psychological topic. But again, it's vision, desire, passion to serve humanity through the powerful vehicle, life-saving vehicle of chiropractic. But strategy, then execution is the most important component of that.
So let me ask you this. So it's one thing to have that vision, or I find this, if you have that vision and then you search for that strategy and you find it, and then there's action that you need to take, but then do you ever feel that little sensation inside where you're just like, oh, I don't want to take any more action. You know what I mean? You're like, geez, I mean, I don't know if it's just I don't know if it's, let me think the word, like self-control or not enough willpower or whatever it is. You see that vision and you want it, but it's like the work that it takes to get there. How'd you push yourself through it? Or how do you do it every day and make yourself take enough action even though you don't want to,
A couple of factors involved there. One, of course, is you have to build a good team around you, a great team around you. Well, you're not the mule pulling everything uphill. So that's a really crucial factor. And that's obviously there's a lot behind that discussion, but you have to make sure that you're not necessarily, I don't even like the word delegate. You just have to make sure you have a team that's willing to help you. And that's really what it boils down to. And they're happy to serve. They want to be part of the mission, and they're going to come to you and say, hey, let me do that. That's the kind of team you want. You don't want a situation where you're pushing stuff down and saying you do that and throwing stuff like people, your slaves around you. Right. You want to have a team around you that's so willing that they're saying, no, give that to me. You do what you're good at. You want them coming to you and saying that to you. Right. And so that's a crucial component of it. But of course, as Zig Ziglar and all the success experts always remind us, you're going to be, Charlie Tremendous Jones, I think, is credited for saying this. You're going to be the same person you are today 5 years from now, for the exception of the books and tapes that you listen to and read, and the people you surround yourself with. Right. And the people you surround yourself with create accountability, create the bar, create the level that the bar is going to be set at, and are going to provide you with the inspiration and motivation, if it's the right group, are going to give you that. They're going to give you the nurturing and nourishment and the strength to give you endurance and stamina to want to keep going. Right. That inspiration is always going to be in front of you. So that's why, we created Elevation Health, is to provide that environment where doctors are always plugging in. They're always getting fed. I just got off the phone. Every week, I do a 20-minute philosophy call. I go through the green books. We rip through a green book every quarter, and we have all the Elevation Health doctors get on the line, and they love it. They feel like they're getting fed. They get their spirits renewed and redipped and re-strengthened and recharged every single Thursday for 20 minutes. It's a quick shot. We get on, we get off the phone. It's recorded. They can go back. And we go deep into the green books and we extrapolate out what these things mean. They go back to their office, they take it with them, and they start talking it down, and that reignites the passion inside of them. Right. And gets them it keeps the momentum going when they're doing little things like that each week and have the right peer group in front of them.
And, I've been fortunate, I've been blessed to do a lot of interviews with some just some amazing people in chiropractic, and you are one of them. And people at your caliber, I've noticed two things. Number one is that working on yourself is important, the person that you want to become. And number two, though, every single person I've interviewed, in the caliber, like I find yourself, has a great work ethic. And I mean, they work hard. They work their ass off, really. And how much of your success do you contribute to work ethic, and how much do you recommend, we build that?
It's an important habit to develop. As Sid Williams used to have us chant in Dynamic Essentials, work is fun. I love to work. Work is fun. I love to work. We would say that as a student. You'd see it 1,000 times at DE. And half the time I was wondering, is this guy a lunatic? It's like, why am I chanting this? But that stuff got deep down in me. And we have to get around people that we, first of all, model a work ethic if we don't have one yet. I know you and I, we have that. I know a little bit about you. I know I did. I know you did. We grew up with role models to show what work ethic looks like. Sure. And, one of the things that bothers me in chiropractic, outside of chiropractic, is you listen to people talk about, like, work smarter, don't work harder, and work only 3 days a week and do this. It's like, what? The most successful people are the hardest working people. Yeah. I was watching Shark Tank the other night, and it's the only thing I'll watch. Maybe every few weeks I'll watch a few episodes. I love it.
Same here.
Right? And we talked about that, when I spoke in New Jersey, I was talking a little bit about it. Yep. And Mark Cuban, a billionaire, like, if the investors, when they interview the investors, like months down the road, and they're like, so how's it going with Mark Cuban and these other guys? What's it like working with them as they're developing your business? And, do you get to talk to them? They're accessible. And I was listening to an interview about Mark Cuban. The guy's, he's beyond a billionaire. I mean, the guy's got more money than just $1 billion and assets. Like, probably one of the hardest working people, probably puts in 20-hour days. And because it's a passion, it's a labor of love. These guys work hard. Yeah. And it's really, again, it's not, if you said the word hard to him, he would probably spit on you. He'd be like, it's not hard. It's like, I like doing it, Yeah. And so, of course, there's balance. Of course, there's time for recreation. And, but of course, if it's our passion, what we do is recreation, really. But of course, you take vacations, you go away, you go wherever you want to go. I do a lot of traveling, but, I work hard, man. I'm proud to say, I am very proud to say I may just adjust 18 hours or 19 hours a week, 20 hours, my hands on people. But I'm very proud to say that I can work some weeks 60, 70, 80 hours, 90 hours. When I get home, outside of spending time with my family, I'll work on a newsletter. I'll work on designing things, writing things. And I enjoy that. I'm proud to say that. I'm not proud to say the other thing. I'm proud to say how much I enjoy doing what I love to do and executing on the strategies. It's fun. So yeah, the work ethic is hugely important. And if the work ethic is not there, then you really want to check, is your vision, your passion getting stale? It should be exciting to work and really put the time in and drive and fly places and speak and contribute either on a political level or local or like what you're doing. This is not work for you. I mean, you're doing an interview, we're talking, you're trying to bring something of value to the profession. You had to put an extra hour in or so today. That's going to add to your weekly load. But this is not work to you. You're enjoying this and you're helping others. So
yeah, man, I enjoy it more than anything else. Getting to talk to like guys like you. So one more question that I have is about congruency, and that's another thing I notice in people of great caliber. Is they are very congruent with the message that they share. And my question to you is, were you always that way? Did you have to work to build that congruency, and how do we do that?
Well, again, that's relative in terms of, congruency in terms of, you're saying like this in terms of practicing, communicating who you are outside the practice, inside the practice.
Right. And so, for instance, when I do workshops or, in my office for my patients, and I'm telling them about nutrition, and I'm telling them to get adjusted, and I'm telling them to exercise, and then, you know what, I'm not perfect, and I get this feeling of guilt every time I go home if I have a beer, or if I, and I'm better than 90%, of the population out there, but I feel like that hinders my confidence maybe, and maybe something that doesn't allow me to grow as fast as I should be able to.
I think disclosure is the greatest form of congruency in terms of disclosing to your patients. When I communicate to the patients, for example, when we do a re-sign talk, I tell them, listen, it's not a game of perfect. Right. We don't judge anybody here. It's not a game of perfect. But here's the roadmap. Here's the strategy. And we pointed out workshops and these different activities we have set up to create an environment that fosters support, that fosters advancing, that fosters moving in the right direction. And that's really what it's about. And it's the same for me. Nobody in this room is perfect when you communicate. So as long as that's being communicated and you're not setting up a false air that everything you do is perfect, or if a patient makes a comment about that to you thinking that, they're this like unreachable standard, I always check them on that. So, I'm just like you, we all fall short. Nobody's perfect. And as long as you're communicating that, but it really is something that we do. We are held to a higher standard because we are wellness leaders. We're community leaders. We're thought leaders, as Reggie Gold talked about. So we are held. It's almost kind of like the clergy in our town. We are held to a different standard, especially because of the level of trust that people put in us. Right. So it's a problem if it's like I was watching that thing, or I was in I was getting my hair cut yesterday. And they were talking about the football player who whatever his name is, Rice. They were talking about. They had the video going, what he did to his wife in the elevator, that whole thing, that football player, and it's like you can never do that kind of stuff, and you're never supposed to. But it's like that there's a definitely a line or there's a different there's a relative nature in terms of incongruency. I mean, are you doing that kind of stuff when you leave the office, or are you cracking a beer open? I don't think, or having a glass of wine, I don't think that's necessarily incongruent. It's a matter of, it's a relative thing. But I think it's important for each individual doctor to establish in their heart what they feel is right and wrong, congruent with what they're teaching, and try to approximate that as much as possible. Because when you resonate with that, when you're true to yourself and you're really resonating with that level of integrity and congruency that you feel you should be, you're much more powerful. When your presence is much more powerful. Yeah. I find that because when I tell someone to do something, I make sure I'm doing it first. If I tell someone to do the wobble disc or all the different things or traction or dental roll, I make sure that I'm doing it, and it won't come out of my mouth unless I am doing it. And again, nobody's perfect, but we have to make sure that we are congruent.
I found it helps with my communication. And recently, in fact, in the last few months, because my wife is a chiropractor, so I'm always getting adjusted. I get adjusted by her a few times a week. But I started driving about an hour every Saturday morning, going to who I feel is one of the best chiropractors in the world. But I travel, and I go every Saturday morning now, and I get adjusted. And it helped me to communicate that message when patients are like, well, I couldn't make it, or I'm never on this side of town, and I found it very helpful to say, you know what, I drive an hour every week to get adjusted, and I don't know, it felt like I was more congruent, and it felt easier to share that message.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it brings your level of conviction to a whole different level.
Yeah. So as we're kind of tying up, I want to know more about Elevation Health. Tell us what your vision is for chiropractic, what you guys are doing, and tell us how we can find more information out about that.
Yeah, so our vision is to, number one, just make sure that we bring powerful principled resources to the profession. And we have two divisions to what we're doing to our vision. One is chiropractors we have a boot camp or a seminar coming up in November in Dallas, which is our home base.
Awesome.
And we have chiropractors who have, like yourself, you have your own office, but you want access to our resources and what we do. And really where we excel is we have something called the flywheel strategy inside of our process and procedure that really has created the highest level of retention, the highest retention percentage in the entire profession. There are a lot of people out there, a lot of great leaders in chiropractic are great in their niches, either bringing patients in, speaking, their day 1, day 2 process, their dinner, or whatever it is. Where we excel is our ability to retain people for a lifetime. And we really have cracked the code on that through our signature proprietary type of model that we've created, through our educational model, which is robust, powerful. And we have, our founders have up to a 90% retention rate, which is a beautiful thing.
Wow.
Where, of course, you always want to reach out and have more new patients and touch more lives. But to know that you're not completely, that you're not completely dependent upon that new patients for your livelihood or pay your bills, it's a nice thing. So we have this process where we really teach how to nurture the patients the whole way through, and really for them to develop enough value to want to stay for life. Very powerful. And then, of course, we're building offices in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're allowing doctors to come train with us, intern with us, and run an office, have an ability or an opportunity to run an office there and become an associate and become an integrated part of Elevation Health in that way. So that's the vision of the company, really to help the profession, help new chiropractors, and provide powerful resources in terms of building up principled chiropractors for long-term growth and success.
Right.
Again, if anybody wants any information, I can give you a link. They can check out the seminar in November. We have one coming up in January in Lake Mary.
Great.
A mile. It's not even a mile down the road. It's across the street from my office. And they can get to see my office, world-class wellness facility, amazing, very proud of it. And again, if they want to come to the November one, that's in Dallas-Fort Worth. And the theme of that one is retention. And we're going to unveil strategies that are just mind-blowing. And they are they're relevant. We all of our founders are in practice. We practice every day, and our technologies, our communication technologies, they're accurate, they're real-time, and they're relevant.
I think it's huge that you guys, you're not only in practice, you run some of the most amazing practices in the world, and you do that every single day, so you're able to share that, just skill, or just the blessing that you have to get to do that every day. You get to share that passion with the people that you coach. And let me tell everybody out there listening, go to Dallas and go to Lake Mary, because I got to go to Lake Mary and been to a seminar there and see your practice, and it's priceless. Pay whatever you have to get there and go see that. So again, Dr. Yachter, thank you. I knew this was going to be an amazing interview, and it absolutely blew my expectations. So thank you so much, and we're going to have a link below this video to get more information and to make sure that they can get a hold of you to be able to go to those events.
Awesome. Tabor, I appreciate you, and thank you for what you're doing for the profession, and looking forward to a great future working with you.
Thanks, brother.